I'm Allie, and this is my honest Swoop Airline review.
Swoop is proud to offer you services like keeping control of the features you want.
So here's my quick review in a nutshell. I have flown on several Swoop flights within Canada as well as to Las Vegas and Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I expect it to be a cheap flight to get me to my destination, and that's exactly what it is. To be honest, if it wasn't for the pink theme, which I do kind of love, you would think it's a WestJet flight. The flight staff are just very laid back, super nice, they crack jokes when it's appropriate. It's just a really chill vibe on board, nothing pretentious or anything. The reason I've flown with Swoop so many times over the last few years is because the prices are truly cheaper, especially if you compare it to WestJet and using their companion fares or WestJet dollars that you can rack up. It's honestly a lot cheaper. Oh, and before we go any further, I just want you to know that this is definitely not a sponsored video. Swoop did not pay me anything to make this video. I paid full price for every single one of the flights that I've made, so this is 100% just my opinion. Let's talk about prices and whether or not Swoop flights are any cheaper. So when you're booking with Swoop Airline, you have to know that you are literally just paying for a spot on the plane, and that includes a personal item, which is something small enough that you can fit under the seat, and that is it. You have to pay for every single thing beyond that. If you want to pick your seat on the plane in advance, you do have to pay for that. Otherwise, you will get a spot assigned to you once you arrive at the airport for check-in. If you don't want to pay for seats on the plane and you are traveling with other people, make sure that they are on your same itinerary or you book all at once together. Carry-on bags and checked bags are extra, and as you can see here, carry-on pricing ranges from $36 to over $50. You can also see that carry-on bags are $10 more if you wait to pay at check-in, and even more than that if you wait to pay at the gate. So if you know you're going to bring a carry-on bag, definitely pay for it when you are booking your flight online. And often, carry-on bags and checked bags are actually the same price. So you're not gonna save any money by bringing a carry-on. And I think the reason why is because when they have a full flight where everyone is bringing a carry-on that they need to put in the overhead compartments, it takes a lot longer to board the plane. And so the faster they can board the plane, the more they can keep their prices lower because time is money. Also, you should know that bag fees do increase by a few dollars during peak travel season. So this is usually the summer holidays, like July and August, as well as the Christmas holiday season. And here are the prices for checked bags, and they have short, medium, and long flight duration. So the longer the flight, the more expensive it is to check a bag. And checked bags do have a 50-pound limit, and you definitely do not want to go over this. I believe the charge for going over 50 pounds is somewhere around $100. One time I was in line and the lady in front of us was actually over the 50 pounds. She spent like 10 minutes trying to take things out and figure out what she could move into her carry-on, and trust me, you don't want to be in that position at the airport. Sometimes they weigh your carry-on and sometimes they don't. My carry-on bag that I bring everywhere with me, I can stuff that thing full and it only ever weighs about 11 or 12 pounds. So you'll be good with that. If you want to know what my carry-on bag is, I've left a link below so you can check that out. Seat selection. Is it worth paying more for a seat? I would say it really depends on your height and how long your flight is. Since my husband is 6'9", we always book the emergency exit row seats. The exit row seats are exactly the same legroom spacing that you will find on any other flight like WestJet or Air Canada. You can also pay for extra legroom seats in the first, I believe it's 5 rows, and those are actually more expensive than the emergency exit row. But they aren't premium seats or premium plus like you would find on a flight like WestJet. It's just the extra legroom. What's interesting about flying on Swoop is that if the emergency exit row seats are empty upon takeoff, they actually don't let anyone move into the seats if they didn't pay for them. On our most recent flight to Mexico, it was actually only about about a third full. And after takeoff, there was a couple that moved to the exit row seats across the aisle from us, and they actually got kicked out because they didn't pay for them. With the fact that there are no premium seats or like fake first class, they allow passengers to use the washroom that's at the front of the cabin. So I actually think this is a bonus about flying on Swoop Airline. If you compare it to a WestJet flight, if you don't pay for the premium seats at the front of the plane, you don't get to use that other washroom. And so everybody else is required to use the ones at the back. I actually find this is a bonus about flying on Swoop, is that you do get more washroom access. Okay, food and beverages. Swoop does not offer any sort of complimentary food or drink, so this includes water and coffee. If you want water or coffee, you have to pay for it. Just bring your own water bottle, make sure it's empty. As soon as you're through security, you can fill it up at one of the fountains or just buy a bottle of water in the airport and bring it on board. For purchase, for snacks, they usually have chips, crackers, cookies, a little bit of candy, and noodle bowls and small bites like that. They also do have alcoholic beverages for purchase as well. And they only take credit card as payment. There's no cash on the flights. Having to pay for anything food and beverage wise is something that I don't mind on Swoop flights, because I find that not many people actually go through and buy anything. So when the flight staff are coming through to offer food and beverages for purchase, it usually goes by really fast because only a few people on board will end up buying anything. And so this is a good thing, I think, because it's the worst when you have to go to the washroom and you know you're going to be stuck behind the flight attendants handing out drinks. So you don't really have to worry about this on these flights because it goes by super fast. There is Wi-Fi on board, but you do have to purchase it. There's no in-flight entertainment. There's no movies that you can watch from the airline's app. You do have to pay for the Wi-Fi service. You will have to download the Swoop app, and then once you are in the air, you can choose which package you want, and it usually ranges from about $10 to $30. However, you should know that the Wi-Fi is not strong enough to stream movies or YouTube, so don't expect to be watching Netflix or anything like that. Really, it's only good for checking your email, maybe going on Facebook, Instagram, and that's about it. Definitely be prepared to have a nap, bring a book. If you have a laptop or a tablet, put your movies on there or your games, and don't expect to rely on the internet. A lot of people ask me about cancellations or delays and if we've ever experienced anything like that flying on Swoop. I have never had a bad experience with a cancellation or a delay. And I think you have a higher chance of this happening if you are on a connecting flight. Luckily for us, there's a lot of routes from Edmonton that are direct. And so if you're on a direct flight, chances are you're going to be just fine. And if your Swoop flight does get canceled, just remember that that can happen also with WestJet or Air Canada. When it comes to changing your flight, cancellations, it's basically the same that you'll find on any other airline. Say for instance, you found a really good price on a Swoop flight and you kind of just booked it on a whim. You have up to 24 hours to change or cancel your flight for a full refund, as long as it's more than 7 days before departure. So if you found a really good deal, I would just go ahead and book it. Otherwise, outside of this, you can't change or cancel your flight unless you purchase the Modify option, which is $10 a person each way, and this allows you to change or cancel your flights at any time. Can you bring your pet on Swoop? The answer is no. Swoop does not allow pets in the cabin or even like down below with cargo. So you cannot bring a dog or a cat. You'll have to fly on WestJet to do that. If you do want to fly with your pet in the cabin, I have an entire video detailing my entire experience bringing my dog in the cabin on WestJet, as well as everything you need to know about it. So check that video out if you're interested. Swoop does allow fully trained service dogs in the cabin at no charge, but they do not allow emotional support animals. So overall, my experience on Swoop Airline has been generally quite positive. I know to expect that I have to pay for every single thing beyond a spot on the plane. So I think as long as you expect that, as long as you know that you have to pay for carry-on and seat selection and a bottle of water on board, then honestly, you have nothing to worry about. It's a great way to get to your destination in the cheapest way possible. And I really hope to see them continue flying and adding more routes because it makes makes travel way more affordable these days. So I've had a great experience flying on Swoop, and I will continue to do so. I'd highly recommend giving it a shot. I'm super curious. Let me know in the comments below how your experiences have been flying on Swoop, or if there's anything that I've missed that you want to know, please put your question down below in the comments, or check out my entire blog post that I wrote about my experiences on Swoop Airline. I think there's a few more details in there that I forgot to include in the video, so if you want to read through everything and find out a few more details, please check out my blog post below. It's linked in the description. If you like this video or found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, and happy flying. We'll see you in the next video.